at the Apollo. It's showtime. Ooh, at the Apollo. Hey, hey, hey. What you know about this showtime at the Apollo? You probably too
My
young.
actually my one of my last hair gigs in New York was with Rudy Townsend, and he did Snoop Dogg.
He
That
did
was my
Snoop.
that was my last time at no. I was doing a stage play at the Apollo called it's a famous play. I think what's the guy that played
Oh, who was
um
it? Who was it? Who
the
was it?
short he had a sitcom, kind of short, stubby, kind of black guy, bald.
That sound like my uncle Rudy Ray Moore.
Oh no, not him.
Ah,
um
let's see. We can. Who was Showtime at the Apollo? Short hair. What's up, Black Beauty
um,
Culture, Nova Scotia? Uh, she can't recall, but today it is Showtime at the Apollo, and you know what we're about to do is we got some Showtime clips. It's going down. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up, good people? Y'all know who it is. It's me, Ladosha, right? AKA Key Lolo. And then there's Cheryl over there, all prim and proper. Isn't she? Look at her with her hair all, nice and, you know how that's going down. It's okay, Cheryl. It's okay. It's okay. All
it's
right.
called a
So
bun. That's
it's a
it.
it's called a bun. Excuse us, okay? We're going to be a little bit raunchy tonight because we have a wonderful. I'm talking about this podcast is going to be off the Richter scale. So please, if you guys could be so kind, number one, to hit that thumbs up button. If you are watching us on YouTube, that's number one because we're trying to get in these Alglow rhythms. I'm going to
Right.
call them, not Algo, but Alglow. Algorithms. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if you are watching us on any of the other social media, hit that little heart button. So again, they could know that we want to be in those Alglow rhythms. All right. So we got that jumping off. And then let's see what else. We got some wonderful, wonderful. This topic today. I'm so anxious to talk about it. I feel like Kermit the Frog. Uh, do you know why I'm so anxious to talk about this topic though? Seriously, because I don't understand what is. I just really want to know why is why all of a sudden is the entire like it appears
Hmm.
that the media is just really really obsessed with black women's hair like never before. I mean, if you go, like, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do this right quick. Okay. Whoops. Let me go back to my little thing here. If you was to go on to, like, let's just say you hit Google, right? And you know how
Hmm.
Google comes up with all the stuff. It seems
Hmm.
like no matter what they have, look, Olaplex. It's something about black women. Jada Pinkett, Tia Mowry wore some cornrow braids. Like, what is going on? Because you work in the media in a different way, not social media, guys. We're talking
Hmm.
about real life media.
Hmm.
Um, Black Beauty in Nova Scotia, is that happening over in Canada? Let us know, because in America, they done lost their rabbit boo boo mind. So before we get, and I'm gonna talk about the topic in a minute, but what, Cheryl, what y'all doing in the media world? Help us see what's going on.
I don't think that it's. I think it's always been a fascination, but I think that it is now, you know, such a part of. It's a phenomenon to the point where they don't know where we're going. They don't know. I guess we just now have so many choices, and I think that it's just something else to talk about. Um, it is pretty strange. It
So,
is.
so,
It's a lot of attention. It's a lot of attention.
so are we like Are we like trendsetters, or are we continuing to set the trend here, or it's got to be a reason that all,
Yeah,
or is it they don't have anything else to talk about in the news? What do you think about that? I don't
that
know.
it, that could be it. But I do think that black women are on the precipice of starting some new things. They may not know what that is. I don't even think we know what it is, but
Hmm.
I think that it is time that is just that synergy within fashion and beauty that black women have always led with, either going back to something retro or going back in time, and going vintage. And they're just looking for, those cultural signifiers to so they can get on it. It's all about money.
Okay.
And trying to figure out where, and that's that I think that fascination with beauty leading into hair care, which is the subject today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that the healthcare and health scare, and kind of that just trying to get a feel of what black women are going. So, the finances and everything, they're trying to look for those cultural signifiers.
I like that word, cultural signifiers, because this topic today is definitely going to be about some cultural signification.
Hmm.
So what had happened was we had a podcast, right, and we were talking about this research on these relaxers. That's now every time you turn, now they have actually moved this topic to commercials. At first, it was just on your social media,
Hmm.
right? Where they were talking about this cancer scare, right? Well, now they've taken it off of social media. Well, I know here in Cleveland, we have some law firms that are now saying that, if you have cancer or some issues, now they're adding like endometriosis with this relaxer,
Hmm.
that, you need to give these law firms a call. So,
Hmm.
and then from there, we had addressed, well, we thought we did a pretty good job of addressing, really, as you would call it, the boogeyman. The boogeyman with the relaxers. But then last week, I came across an article from USA Today, which is a very reputable, newspaper source for Americans and people around the world. Read USA Today, and let me just pull up the little thing, because I don't want people to be like what she'll say. Don't cook it up, look it up. So let me just pull it up right here. Here it is. Here we go. Let's show it. Here we go. There it is. Let me move over. So this is how it all gets started. Everybody in the chat. So we want everybody to be on the same page with Cheryl and I. So at first, it was just relaxers was something that we needed to worry about. And I actually have the relaxer right here that's part of the lawsuit. They are naming this particular product, and you guys may have seen this image on social media where they're saying that this is one of the companies who's responsible for contributing to a certain amount or certain women who are having cancer, right? Well, now, according to these experts at USA Today, they are saying, get where do you get a load of this? I know you guys have probably heard that from somebody else. But really, wait till you get a load of this. Welcome, Miss Linda. I see you in the chat. I see you. Welcome to our platform. We're talking about the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. And in this one, if this ain't dumb, then I don't know what is. So we're not going to waste any time. And Cheryl is going to be the one to really clear this up, and I'm gonna be the one saying the dumb shit, all right? Because I told y'all we're gonna get pure and unadulterated. So get and drop your stuff, because one thing we want you guys to understand, even though we're making kind of light of the dumb shit that people say, it's our goal here to clear this up. So don't, I don't know everything, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I know I look like I do, but I don't. I know my last name is Wright, but often I'm wrong, okay? So here goes it. It says whether our hair is relaxed or not. Beauty products. Here's some beauty products. I just brought some. I love this brand, Nairobi. Anybody like this brand here? You know, these been staples right here, Cheryl. You know, little
Mhm.
Luster's pink lotion. They say they don't care. And I don't care if you're fancy. We got some Joyco. Nothing like some rinse. You know, black folks love rinse, don't we? We love some rinse, okay? Especially purple, okay? Even hairspray, all right? This article says no matter what, they don't care whose name is on it. Beauty products puts black women
Mhm.
at risk.
Mhm.
I don't know if a black person wrote this. I was trying to pinch her open to see if she was. Oh yeah, she is black. Her name is Cara Jillian Brown,
Mhm.
and she does have a source in this article.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's the. Let me get this right, Cheryl. The National Institute of Health.
Mhm.
So this is where some of her opinions are coming from.
Mhm.
Um, you get ready to answer, and Black Beauty Culture of Nova Scotia said, first of all, what we need to do is to do our best to control the narrative. Linda Bradley is saying, what percent of our income is spent annually compared to other ethnic groups? So we got two people saying we need to control the narrative, and the other person says one of the problems we spending too much damn money, okay, compared to other ethnic groups. So hop right into it, Cheryl. Everything is putting us at risk. How is this? We scared now. Now everybody is like, oh hell no, I ain't messing around. I don't trust none of y'all.
I think the question is for when you say at risk to what? The question is that when and because here we go again. I think that we have lack of a formal cosmetology body of experts and consultants to be able to kind of compartmentalize what at risk means in healthcare, because it doesn't mean the same thing in financial markets or the workplace, yada, yada, yada. Um, but in healthcare, and this is peculiar because when you go down into, let's say, the latest stats on um, black women to non Hispanic black women, Hispanic half black women, and then biracial black women. And then you look at the as much healthcare statistics that you can in what is the number one killers or illnesses. And the problem with the relaxer scare is that cancer is not one of the top killers of black women. And so when you have so much recent media on that and talking about it so ambiguous, you have to especially, let's just say for all intents and purposes, we did have me, you, Ladosha, the wonderful woman in Nova Scotia, and Miss Linda. There's just a whole bunch. Let's say we had 10 experts, right? And what we would do is we would get this news and these research pieces of information and data and things of that nature. And this particular body would be communicating with people who randomly just get money to just do random studies because that's what they do. They have to eat, so they do studies, they get grants, that's how they eat. But they're not really directed to inform the black women consumer body in terms of what is actually connected to the top risk within what um, black women suffer from. And when you look at those statistics, you know, you're talking about hypertension and obesity, and you're leading in things that have nothing to do with their beauty regimen. And what is also very peculiar to me is that black women, and any woman for that matter, chooses to beautify and it actually makes them feel good. So when you are connecting with that being very healthy, but we're also trying to say that, so, that must mean at risk, must mean that the beauty choices in the products that you're buying are so much more toxic than any other group of women. And who are producing those products? So also you're saying that black people who produce the products are just ignorant. They're so vile, and they're so, you know they're just so money hungry that they're not looking at, they're not, they don't have any ethics, they don't have any. There's a lot of packed into articles that leave these really open blanket statements when you say at
Yes.
risk.
Well, what she says, and I believe,
Hmm.
to be honest, of course, as a journalist, this is going to be her opinion. I'm sure everybody,
Well, it's
uh,
content.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody at USA. So we're definitely not saying that, guys. But what she is saying in this article is that due to the fact that we had not been able to wear our hair in its natural state, just all the pressures of black women, how we've had to look to be able to, just kind of navigate through
Hmm.
the world, not only professionally, but personally.
Hmm.
We have been doing toxic things ourselves,
Hmm.
number one, by not understanding what we're putting on our hair. And
Hmm.
so she's leaning towards the whole natural. Now I know you talk about the anti-chemical, but help us understand, how is the average black woman who's under the guise of how we got to look, how
Hmm.
are we supposed to know what's good and what's not good when it comes to these ingredients? Because that's where the article is going. And if you guys have some comments in the chat about what is your thoughts about using chemicals. So sure, you're going to talk about the chemicals, because that's kind of where she's going. So again, when she says at risk, she thinks that the chemical use, and all of us trying to have color, you know, just all the stuff that we're putting on our hair,
Hmm.
that this is what's putting me at risk for like scalp problems, skin, this stuff gets in my face may break out. So she's covering the whole gamut of at risk.
Hmm. Hmm. And let me just say this, for just so we can kind of like peel back the onion. Um, the factors when people talk about at risk, and I know we love to be kind of fixated and a little excited, maybe over fixated and overexposed to the assumption that because people don't, or the average person or white people don't understand black hair, then that we don't understand it. And so when we go to formulate things for our hair, and let's just say, because relaxer is not anything new, it's actually very old, we are assuming that white people made it or did make it. So therefore, it must be something dangerous. And I want people to get this clear. The underlining um, chemical of composition, the chemical composition of relaxer, white people use it. Okay. And so when you are talking
Hold
about
on, hold on, hold on. What you mean white people
white people
use it?
use products that are high in alkali, caustic soda, high on the pH scale of where relaxers are. Okay. And so they use hair removers, laser, alpha hydroxy. They use dangerous chemicals as well that are just as caustic, and use them more often than black women.
Uh,
So what I am saying is that we are assuming because white people don't manufacture relaxers that somehow the cultural signifier word is relaxer, and it's not synonymous with white usage. So therefore, white researchers kind of peel us off because they don't know what this stuff is. They do know what it is. It's called Nair. It's an alkali. It's other things that they use in their products. They may not use it for the same purpose, but because of the lack of knowledge, it is able to be exclusively put under the word relaxer. And then, of course, it's a cultural signifier connected to only black women. So, therefore, black women have to be exclusively at risk when the chemical in and of itself is has a range of uses and everybody's using it. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yeah, hold on here. Yeah, well, so see, it makes a little sense, but you have to keep in mind, Cheryl, in this article, let me just count because I'm gonna bring in another clip. I'm gonna bring in a clip in a minute. So,
Mm-hmm.
just work with me, guys. So, what she's saying in this article, we hear what you're saying about the relaxers, because that really took the credibility of chemicals to this level where we're at right now. But remember, she's saying, let me just move my mouse here. She's saying whether our hair is relaxed or not.
Mm-hmm.
So you're speaking to sodium hydroxide
Okay.
being
Well,
similar
no.
to. So
What I'm
she
saying
said,
is
okay,
what I
okay, okay.
no. What I'm saying is that if it outside of the relaxer paradigm, everybody's using the same thing. So where is the black woman at risk in terms of the way she used it? Everybody uses conditioner. Everybody uses propylene glycol. Everyone uses water. Everyone uses panthenol. Everyone uses fragrance. Everyone uses, so there is no exclusivity outside of the relaxed, and that's why her title is misleading, and it has a cultural signifier that there is something exclusively in the beauty industry that black women are exclusively at risk, and it is connected to black women health issues, which she doesn't mention.
Right. Right,
She just
right. She
says
does.
at risk.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down to the article a little bit more, but I'm gonna show a clip
Mhm.
because a lot of people here now. We got YouTube University jumping off, okay? And you guys, let me know what you think about this clip. So in this clip, this woman is going to explain a little bit about black hair because I think I'm being key Lolo right now, okay, Cheryl? Because I really think what your problem is that you really don't know what black hair is. So let's see. People are under the notion that there's something, something is different. Something is going on with our hair compared to others. So let's see what the experts are saying. Here we go.
But do please note that in general race is not a biological concept because there is more variation within any of these groups than there is between groups. There are no biochemical differences between Asian, European and African hair.
Okay. So she said that's one of the problems is that it's really no difference between Asian hair, Caucasian hair, and Afro hair because this is what the experts are saying is that the problem that why they may have some of this wrong is that they keep picking on our hair like it's so different, but in reality there are a lot of experts who are saying it's really no difference. So do you guys in the chat think that there is a distinct difference between Asian, Caucasians, black people? We don't get no Asians. We don't get no IANs. Why we don't get no IANs, I don't know, but we're just gonna say Africans. So again, I know you guys are in the chat. Come on, guys, wake up. Let us not lose you. Do you believe or do you think that there is absolutely, there is no difference between Asians, Caucasians, and African Asian? No, I'm just kidding. And Africans, because we don't get the IANS. Um, So no one has dropped it in the chat. So Cheryl, is she correct that it really is no difference? So this is why you can't be saying that black women are at risk because technically all the hairs are the same.
Okay. Well, I will say this though. When we say, here we go again, and I'm going to say this to everyone who has ever, and whoever will listen to this, anyone who has ever, who has a license or not, who has been on YouTube, who has tried to be a leader and say what they know about hair, let me say this to you. When we say there is no difference, what they won't, what they don't understand is that if there is no difference, then what is the similarities? And if there is similarities, then black people are the only group that can actually hair type from a shape. There is no such thing as a white person who has a hair type. So all white people have straight hair, if it's straight. Then all wavy white people who have wavy hair, it's almost like, do white people fit into the hair typing as well? My whole point is that when she says there are no differences, she doesn't even know what would be the similarities. And so my issue with anyone who says there is no differences, there must be differences because you don't use the same chemicals to treat it. They don't, hair loss, a black person doesn't normally, especially if they have a different history or a different historicity, then when they have a different background, then obviously, then why did one hair that has this under the same kind of conditions? And let me ask you another question. Then either the scalp is different because the scalp produces a different hair. So if the scalp produces a different hair, then it's not the fact that we're not saying that it's not protein, it's not keratin. What we're saying is that it does have different bio behaviors, environmental behaviors. It has different moisturization needs. It has different styling variations. And let's just be real. And like I always say to any geneticist, any anthropologist, any medical doctor, any dermatologist, it doesn't make a difference. Curly hair is dominant, and that is a gene expression. And so if the genes and the alleles in the DNA within the chromosomes produces a different expression, then there must be a different wearing and environmental needs for it. Now, what differences in terms of what are you saying? I don't know what differences you mean. Do you mean chemical differences as a keratin? Is it a different protein? No, it's not. But it does have different bio. Well, let me, is there different skin types? Is it all skin the same? But all skin has an epidermis, a dermis. All has all the same stratum, corneum, and luciderms and granulosum, and it has all the makings of the same. But we all know that black skin interacts with the biosphere and the ecosystem different than Caucasians. We know that. It
All right.
even with the sun, it has a different relationship with,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
the sun. And
All right.
so when there's obvious differences, we don't necessarily have to say it is genetically different, but we do know that it interacts with the environment different. And so there are some chemical and biochemical differences
Yeah,
according
that
to.
was the that was the problem that I had. I went to see Avatar
Mhm.
this weekend, and I was really, really, really upset for all the money that this guy spent on this film and had people learning how to swim underwater and all this other really interesting stuff. He did not allow the hair to respond to the environment. I thought if he really wanted to make a point about saving the forest and all that other stuff he was trying to, mesh in, why we just keep, but that's a whole nother, anywho, that's a whole nother
Yeah.
podcast. But and that's why we're here today, because we're into beauty culture in Nova Scotia. You are correct. So big ups to you, and this is why we can't wait to come to Canada, because we do need to change the narrative, because it's
Mhm.
stuff like that. It
Mhm.
continues to confuse people, because when you see a big production and you see textured hair going in and out of the water, and as they're trying to live, nobody's hair is poofing up. Nobody's hair is getting caught in none of the twigs. I'm like, come on, James, break it through, break it through. He wanted
Yeah.
to, if he really wanted that film to go to another level, he should have made that hair respond to that environment, and that because people were in the actual theater like laughing at us and so on and so forth. But here's what the article is saying to your point about textured hair. And the confusion of the products. So another reason that's putting us at risk, I'm going to show a video. Another thing that's putting us at risk, whether we relax or not. And this is according to Heather Woolery Lloyd. She is an MD. And so she quotes her as saying, the big picture here, Cheryl, is that black women use more products. So the more we use this stuff or crap, according to them, the more we use this crap on our hair, then the more we are at risk. So let's hear what they're saying about what black women should be doing to their scalp. So here's what some other experts, because Cheryl clearly doesn't know everything either. Okay, here we go, Cheryl. Here we go. Oh, hold on, guys. Hold on.
The proper way to hydrate the scalp and stimulate sebum production is simply through frequent cleansing and conditioning of the scalp.
The dumbest shit people say about black hair.
Did you guys hear that? So when she says frequent use, that's one of the problems. You have someone, and let me just play it again. Let me play it one more again. Here we go.
The proper way to hydrate the scalp and stimulate sebum production is simply through frequent cleansing and conditioning of the scalp.
The dumbest shit people say about black hair.
You see the mixed messages? The experts, both experts, that expert says we have to cleanse our scalp more frequently to get the oil production in the scalp clean. And then we have another expert saying that's the problem with black women, is that we're doing too much damn stuff to our hair, and that's putting us at risk for health problems. And you say what to that, Cheryl?
Well, I will say at risk to to what? At risk to what? We have to match the risk with a condition, disorder, or something. Now, let me say this, because the last clip you just played, she said stimulate. I don't, the sebum is in the dermis. I don't know how you can stimulate it by something topical in like water. And let me just say this:
You
you
know
guys are
peppermint.
listening.
You know peppermint oil and tea tree. You know tea tree oil stimulate. Quit playing. She fronting, acting like she don't know.
Well, let me just say this. Um, when you guys will be able to get the full Cheryl Morrow in a course and in a class, but trying to address the most incredible. And let me just say this: um, to try to be to try to get our profession, our professionals, our YouTubers, people who just made it up as they went, and or using white thought and white approaches to beauty. Now, let me just say this: you know, because white people or straight-haired people must wash their hair. Black people are only washing residue. White people are not washing for that reason. So, and without me getting into the hygienic issues that you are dealing with recessive hair types. Recessive hair types have a different set of biochemical relationship with the environment for different reasons than black people. Curly hair people.
You need to break
If
down the
you
bi. You got to break down the biochemical relationships after you answer that, because I know we have some doctors and some MDs that's gonna be like, she done pulled out her little medical dictionary trying to trick y'all with that biochemical response to the environment. So keep going and then talk
we'll
about
put it
that.
this way. When I have a conversation with physicists or geneticists or medical doctors or dermatologists, one of the things that I said, when you leave black people's hair into natural in the environment, it does not need to be cleansed. Curly hair is the most human hair on the planet. It does not, it's a self cleaning mechanism, which means that it has a different bio relationship, electromagnetic bio relationship with the environment. It is not, it does not interact at a level where water deteriorates or decomposes or causes some other kind of biochemical response. It doesn't respond that way. Black hair responds different with the charge in H2O. It goes the other direction. As the hair gets straighter, it goes the other direction. And so there is a different bio relationship that is having with the environment. And so cleansing for us is because we've put so much on it, trying to maintain a style. So we're only shampooing and rinsing because of residue. You're not cleaning and shampooing because of hygienic issues, souring, scalp issues, and things of that nature. So it's a zero sum game for me when you're talking about the evolution of DNA and genetics and talking about Afro curly hair, which is the most human hair on the planet because it is dominant. It has a separate gene that creates it. The straight hair, there is no straight hair gene.
Now you know you causing some trouble up here. I'm with you, Black Beauty Culture, Nova Scotia. Well, do tell. Oh, mon frere contraire, girl. You done stirred it like coffee. Stirred it like mug coffee up in here. Now
It's
you know.
only a dilution.
Wow,
curly hair
wow.
curly hair when you're talking about hair, everything, proteins in and of itself, you can just study proteins when they talk about the macro protein versus micro proteins of what grows out of your head. Proteins fold,
Hmm.
which means they're tight. That's the nature. And then as then the alkalis, then softeners and relaxers, you unfold or unpack or denature the protein fiber. But there's nothing to make a protein fiber once it's straight. You can't fold it, which means that proteins are natural builders. The natural state of proteins are very windy. In fact, go on Google right now and you Google proteins. Just Google proteins and then go to the image. Proteins look like how black people's hair grew out of their head on the microscopic level. And so the natural composition of all proteins, no matter where they are, fibrous, amino acids, it doesn't make a difference. All proteins are packed and folded. And so when we use relaxers, we unfold it.
All
We
right.
de-
So I'm sorry, but I took you up on your Google challenge, and she said Google protein, and you're going to see the protein structure is going to be very not on a straight line.
no.
Okay. So there you have it. So they're saying, I was looking at the article. I'm just going to leave this up so you can hear when you say at risk. So what
Mhm.
they're saying is whether, I'm going to say it again, guys, whether we relax our hair or not. This protein structure that Cheryl says textured hair looks like, okay, is at risk. And when you say at risk to what? The article states that we are at risk of uterine cancer and endometriosis. So that is what we are at risk of.
Okay.
So there you have it, okay?
So when I have philosophers and doctors and everybody, and we are unpacking um, salt as we move up the pH scale, blood, and we moving up the pH scale, and mineral water as we're moving up the pH scale, and then we get to soda ash, and we get to hydroxide, and we get to all these things. Once I have them have their attention, and we unpack the formulation, and I tell you that the skin is left intact. It may have a scorch or an abrasion or things of that nature. I would like for you to logically tell me at that point, after it's on for 7 to 12 minutes, okay, that how beauty products that are not penetratable, they cannot. Now, I want you guys to also understand the same blood in your skull, okay, are not filtering around in your scalp to the point where it's taking hair growth, and what is in the inner root sheet of a follicle is not exposed to the same blood and not sharing the same blood. You have a bone, and that blood is not what is on the surface of your scalp. For something to be able to, it does the nature of the any shampoo, any conditioner, dye, or anything. If it had access to actually infiltrate, you'd probably have it affect your eyes, it affect your ears, it affect your spine. But to go and say that now something on top, and to have that logically mapped out and have it logically spoken, and to have a doctor to show us, they will never put their career on the line to be able to come out and tell you that that is true.
And then hold up, wait a minute. Because what they are saying when it comes to this uterine cancer, it's not so much about the blood. And I heard what you said about our skull. I can hear my mother going, "That's why you a knucklehead." But here's what they're saying: it's the ingredients that can get absorbed, the DA or the PHT, that it's not the blood, it's the chemical leaching. And you're not buying this. Is anybody buying that the chemical can somehow it's taking it into the skin, and it's I don't know how it's getting there, but no. You
Well,
say
at the end,
okay. Okay.
let's just say this. Okay, so we all use shampoos, right? And we use shampoos more often than we use relaxer, right? Then why would black women be at risk?
We would be at risk because we are using this frequently. This is what. Let me just go back
Black
here.
white women wash their hair every day.
Hold on. Let me read. This was what Heather Woolery. I'm gonna repeat her again. She said the big picture, Cheryl, is that black women use more. We're using this more in general,
Okay.
says Heather Woolery Lloyd, MD, a board certified dermatologist in Miami, because this it is not a rollout of bad culture for us. So again, Um,
Well, you just told me that you have to get your hair done and it has to last, right?
right.
Okay. So you're not doing your hair more. You're doing your hair less.
You know what, Cheryl? Come on, Black Beauty Culture, Nova Scotia. Let's put our coats on and let's go to Hawaii. Cause Cheryl, she's so damn. She's a damn detective. You know what? I can't
But
stand these.
I don't. Ain't no black woman putting her head in no water no every day.
Well, now, Cheryl, as a cosmetologist,
Okay.
you do see more of this co-washing. I know I'm not the only one. Come on, guys.
But they're
I
too
see you in the
fat.
chat.
They're not
Don't.
absorbed.
They're not absorbed.
No, 'cause if that was the case, you wouldn't be complaining about buildup.
But it's absorbed and go into the skin. Is that
No,
the
and you
same
wouldn't have
thing?
buildup.
But
What,
does
what
that?
wouldn't it be
But
gone?
but doesn't absorb into the skin and penetrate? Are those two different words? Because it's
What do you guys use more often than any beauty product that goes on your hair? What product do you guys use every day?
oil. And I said co-washing,
No,
Christina.
no, no.
Co-washing.
It's called makeup. It's called lipstick, lip gloss. It's called mascara, foundation, eyeshadow. What do you do every day? Toothpaste, mouthwash, deodorant. You're not using hair products more than those things. I don't know why you guys keep letting the doctors tell you that. What black woman is not doing her hair that often. White women are, though. Then you add tanning. Then you add laser. Then you add cold sculpting. Then you add all this shit that white women do. And then black women are more at risk. Why do you guys keep buying into that? It's a scare tactic. It's just something that was said once and it's just said over and over and over. Now, white people never got, you know, if you check the lotion statistics of who buys more lotion, right? But there ain't one test that says black folks, they just be using lotion because, they afraid of being ashy. Not one research that lotion causes cancer.
But let me just say this, and you guys rock with me. Help me if you agree. The one thing that I also find very interesting about these types of articles is, let me just put it up one more again. Hold on, wait a minute. I gotta put it up because I gotta get some shock factor going on here. Okay, and are you ready for this one?
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me get it up there. Oh, sorry, that's your dad. Sorry. Hey, Daddy, how you doing? Your father had to come through right quick. So here's the thing. Let me just rock with me, guys. We got a few more. I got one more clip. Rock with me. And again, if you are in the chat, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button right now. So we got 6 people. We should see 6 thumbs up. And don't forget to go ahead on and hit the heart button on your Facebook platform. And so Cheryl and I, we would appreciate that very much. Okay. So it says whether our hair is relaxed or not, beauty products put black women at risk. Now, to your point, as if black men don't use the same stuff.
Every damn day.
They're the ones I have black men on my books, and I will tell you the truth. A black man I'm talking about, there is no human on the planet. They talk about men just get up and wash and go. Lies! Men don't care nothing about lotion. Lies!
And
Men
it's
don't
so
care.
funny.
Men, what
You know,
about men use
and,
this
and you know
stuff?
it's so funny? I hear you guys say, okay, black women want their hair to last, right? Okay, and then y'all complain about the women who keep the weaves in too long. Then you complain about the women who got the locks and the brothers who got the locks. We do not do a lot to our hair if we got a style. Okay. So this myth, I don't know where it came from, but we use 10 times more product. Now, let me say this to you. 10 times is relative to me. Because you know why? Because I can say, go to Redken, go to White Beauty Conference and say, y'all use 10 times less. Y'all need to wash your hair more. Y'all need to put some oil in it. Y'all need to do something, because at the end of the day, when people don't do nothing and then they say, oh, you use 10 times, that's not relative. And it's definitely not enough to render scare tactic studies and junk research to be able to lay a foundation for what? What are you laying the foundation to what? Because all I know is that hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and intersectionality in terms of financial and stressed out and cortisol and other hormonal issues is killing us. And what I would like for us to know, cancers are not even, I don't even think they're in the top 10 of health issues. And so I am worried about forces that are coming for another reason in trying to control the buying habits and how we react using scare tactics, which is a cultural signifier, is fear, and trying to control the cosmetology field about what we are to do and what they don't want us to do, and what they, in dealing with. And like your point, Ladosha, Black men are using lots of oils, lots of fragrance, lots of shaving cream, lots of things. They are washing every day as well. They love to stick their head in some water and love to put that nasty brush that they don't clean often, brushing them way. They, in fact, the brush look like a cell phone, damn near, because they carrying it, trying to get their waves and trying to get this gel and trying to do that and this and that. I do not know the fascination with Black women all of a sudden.
Right. And that's what I started off. But let's wrap this up. We got one more video to your point, and this one is all about, like you was talking about, like, how we style our hair, so on and so forth. So let's see what they have to say about texture. This is another expert, a YouTuber, of course, and she's talking about textures and all this, that, and the third. So let's hear what she has to say.
Absolutely.
Asians and Europeans mainly have straight follicles. As a result, cross-sections of black hair appear elliptical or flattened, while white hair is oval and Asian is round.
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis? I have that in my book about the follicle. What you talking about, Willis, about this follicle shape? This is a standard lesson that's taught in so so now remember, guys, we're talking about, in case we got a few more minutes and you're just joining us before we sign off right quick, we are talking about whether or not, let me just pull it up right quick before you get ready to answer that, Cheryl. Hold on. And this is the topic today. Again, it says whether or not, it doesn't matter, our hair is relaxed or not, beauty products put Black women at risk. And we just had a clip where she explained what black hair is. And let me just show you one more time what the clip says. And this one is about how you're going to determine, or what makes these textures different.
The proper way to hydrate the scalp.
Asians and Europeans mainly have straight follicles. As a result, cross-sections of black hair appear elliptical or flattened, while white hair is oval and Asian is round.
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Cheryl?
Listen.
Go.
And I want everyone to pay attention to how important that in the Western world, we read left to right. Okay? And of course, left to right is African. However, okay, you see all of your African uh, Nile Valley statues with the left foot forward. Okay, so left to right. But they always put straight hair left, knowing that scientifically and genetically, it is the last gestation of a protein fiber, in that it is the most recessive right before you get to fur. Okay? But they put it to the left as if it's the standard. Asian, I don't give a damn about no Asian hair. Straight is, goddamn it, is straight. And see, and they peel it off. At the end of the day, there is one gene that expresses dominant. Nature gives us one, and that is what nature does. It packs, it folds, it cores, it coils. That is what nature, that is nature's cosmic math. And that's what the first human beings came here with. It's coiled, it's a gene for it. And there is no other gene. It's only a lack of expression on how you get straight hair. So there's only a variation. But I just made it very key that even when we teach as Black teachers, and we try to be smart, you can't even find, when you come to hair comparisons, they put Black people's natural curly coil, the first hair on the planet, the most natural hair on the planet, to the right, because it's, it's insignificant. What's on the right is insignificant, and so they make that it's a happenstance. It's just maybe the way the follicle, and it's actually called all curly follicles sits at an axis. Why? Because it's supposed to spin. Earth sits at an axis because it's supposed to spin, twist, coil, curl. That's how it is. And not to go on this rant about it, but it is very hard to get any type of Afro cosmetology and Afro place in the world when straight hair, in terms of it being the most recessive hair right before you get to fur, as the standard for the natural world. It's very hard to educate anybody, to expose anybody to truth and science and genetics and physics and math and geometry and biology and any eco-green sciences that is natural to planet Earth. You can't talk about it until you talk about dominance. What is the blueprint in the natural position and the key blueprint for human life? And so once you can't even get us on that page, so the conversation is tainted, sis. It's tainted from the very beginning. And so try to get us on, she's saying something. It's
she ain't said, let me play it one more time. I'm gonna play it one more again, y'all, because Cheryl say, homegirl, here we go, one more again for you guys. Here we go. What is she talking about? Here's what we're talking about.
Asians and Europeans mainly have straight follicles. As a result, cross sections of black hair appear elliptical or flattened, while white hair is oval and Asian is round.
What you talking about, Willis?
Well, Willis.
So if you guys could try to just Google the differences between hair types of races of people. Straight hair will always be to the left because it's number one, baby. It's number one. And that is what the world thinks. We're last, insignificant, and, we exist because of them instead of They exist because of us. And see, once you start any scientific hair or any anthropology, anything in terms of history, you always go back to the beginning, right? Well, curly coiled hair is the beginning. There's no history or science or medicine or investigation, examination, any study of anything that doesn't happen without you going back to the beginning, except cosmetology.
Okay, all right. So, beauty culture Nova Scotia said, "Oh my soul." That's what I said, girl. Oh my soul. Christina Johnson asked you. So basically, what they're saying is, we're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't.
No, we
Is that
damned if we don't get no Afro cosmetology, because you don't have to remember Afro cosmetology when I teach you chemistry. You don't have to remember angles and geometry once you get Afro cosmetology. You have to remember terms and phrases and names of ingredients when you learn it in a way that it does not apply to science or you. You
mm,
can't remember it. You can only study it and then regurgitate it and hope you pass the test. But it has not resonated with you. You don't have no relationship with your knowledge. And then you thus definitely can't apply it. So therefore, we have what? Just anybody just saying anything. And I think that we need that federation. We need that coalition of experts so we can say, no, we didn't really approve that. And so therefore, we don't want you messing with our research and our black stuff. So when you come to our courses and workshops, then we'll give you a certificate. Then you may get on and talk about something. But black hair, afroness, coral, afro curly hair has a has principles to it. It is scientific. It has a nature to it. And we just need to get on those principles. And once we learn them, guess what? It applies to Latinos. It applies to Asians. It applied to straight hair. But you can't have recessive principles and things that just don't make no sense trying to apply it to hair that is so special, so scientific. It just doesn't work. I'm doing a lecture on pH. Uh, when I was speaking to someone and they just said, "Well, why didn't you guys just explain it to us like that in the first place?" And I'm saying, "Well, that's because we weren't in charge of the curriculum. That's why."
right, right. Well, guess
And
what,
the
guys?
narrative. That's why
That's
you guys
right.
need to see the narrative.
That's right. That's where I was going next. What's up? That's right, beauty culture of Nova Scotia. So, Christina, no, this is not. We're not saying we're damned if we do. We're damned if we don't. What we're damned if we do is if we continue to listen to them, and we're damned if we don't, if we continue to not. Provide the education, number one. Number two, make sure that that education, is really it's credible, because what we see here on a lot of these platforms is where people are really making up stuff. Some people are actually using their credentials to dupe you guys. So you have to be very, 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 very careful. What's up, Kofi? We got Kofi Pasai of the Mossy Warrior Clan that's in the chat. What's up, Kofi? He's been so inspired by us. He done actually wrote a book. All right. So when you're talking about helping to change the narrative, this is one of the ways that we're doing it. Number one is inspiring you guys, and number two, information, number three. And then Cheryl said we are going to be having a actual course that you guys are going to be able to take. We're talking about licensed hair care professionals, beauty and barbers will be able to come and be taught Afro cosmetology. We're talking about in the spring of 2023 right here in Cleveland, Ohio. So licensed professionals, you are on notice that we can debunk a lot of this stuff by offering education, because per Cheryl's conversation, I got you can catch Unc West. He's actually featured in the documentary, and again, the documentary is called The Narrative, and this is his book, and it's called The Chronology of Human Evolution. And so Cheryl talked about the left to right theory on the hair. So, what we're going to do when we come back next week, we are going to discuss, just to give you guys a little taste of this Afro cosmetology, we're going to talk about what does she mean by the first texture, because when you hear this, and I got to play it again, we're going to take the opportunity. It's not so much about debunking it, because what Cheryl is saying is that we have to set the record straight. We cannot depend on them to do it, because if not, you guys are going to continue.
Asians and Europeans mainly have straight follicles. As a result, cross sections of black hair appear elliptical or flattened, while white hair is oval and Asian is round.
What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, we're going to be continue to talk about that kind of crazy stuff that Willis is talking about. And this is the stuff that's really hurting us, especially those of us who have textured hair. I know it's in my book. It is. It's in my book, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon. I thought I had one around here, but I don't. But that is what we are taught. And so what we're saying is that we have to have a different conversation, a different narrative about it, particularly by someone who has the credentials, the bona fides, if you will. I just made that word up. So that we can set the record straight for once and for all. So we're going to be back next week. All right, that's going to be on Monday. I want to play some clips of this interview like I always do. All right, guys, so that we can go ahead on and have that conversation about this is the chronology of human evolution. And Cheryl just said, you know what, it's first. It's not number one. The operative word is first. And then she talked about that first texture having various gene expressions. Now, a lot of you might find it a little difficult, but we're going to make this very relatable. And I'm even going to bring up some images of the avatar hair, people hair going in and out of the water. And we talked about, sure, say it better than I do, the biological response to the environment. We have to talk about these things because this is what's confusing, because this is how the natural hair movement really got into that texture shaming and texturism, because people was confused as to why their Afro hair wasn't doing what you commonly see on the screens. And so we have to talk about that. And the reason why we have to talk about it is per what Cheryl was saying, is that it's the first texture and it responds differently. What were you going to say to that, Cheryl?
I wanted you guys, when you guys heard that video, just in the language she showed, she chose to use, she was definite about what straight hair and Caucasian hair. She was definite about what Asian, and then she used the word up for African or curly hair. It appears, and that is so inappropriate for a black person to talk about themselves in such a pretense that voids them from the human experience. And to me, that is because of Afrophobia. She didn't even catch herself. She used definite words as what straight hair is and what Asian hair is. And then she says the cross section of black hair appears. And she chose that because there is lack of real, concrete, factual, scientific, and logical and critical analysis of herself. She doesn't have it. And two, she doesn't have the language. But like you said, we're going to fix that in 2023.
Yeah, guys. So yeah, this is this conversation. It's bigger than something very superficial, and a lot of people have some of those comments in the chat. We hear and we know that you guys see it too, because we see it too. Anytime we see an article that's telling black women that they are in danger, and Cheryl said in the last chat, black women are the oldest humans on. I'll say that again, Cheryl. How did you say that?
Anthropologically. And
Anthropologically. Yeah.
you are the oldest first human beings by yourself, and that's a whole nother conversation. It
That's
wasn't
a
what it wasn't even males. You was
hmm.
here a very, very long time. Do most black people know that all embryos are female?
No, I don't think they know that. And this
Mm.
is why we're going to come back. So we want you guys to get your notebooks ready. We're going to give you a little taste of this Afro cosmetology because we've all been duped. Okay, don't feel bad. And this is what we're here for. You want to know why? Because this is some of the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. And we've got to clear this up, guys. The
Yeah.
onus is on us. When you check out my documentary, it features the one and only right here, okay? Cheryl Morrow is in there breaking it down. It's a good 40 minutes. We wish it could be longer, but we're going to do some more content right here on YouTube. So we will be back Monday at 7 o'clock. So please, please, please share the content again. Hit that thumbs up button. And thank you guys so much. You know what we say when we're always signing out, right? We are always talking about a whole lot of peace, most certainly a whole lot of love, and for sure we talk about a whole lot of hair. But if you ain't got no hair, don't want no hair, can't stand hair, you can't grow it because you didn't know your hair was there first. Guess what? Don't even worry about it. Just rub your beautiful bald head or your bald patches. It don't matter to us because all of that is beautiful too, and so are you. Deuces. Thanks, my good people. We out.